Hey, what's up, guys? Good morning. Hopefully, this should be good to go. Hey, I'm doing a crypto update. We got the Fed here today, so it's probably going to be a slow morning. We were pretty busy in the bond market yesterday. There was a lot going on in repo that had some pass through to the Treasury market, so there was a lot of good back and forth yesterday. And I think this morning it'll be a little bit slower. But hey, I want to update on some cycle work and then just hit on some of the altcoins. Uh, I've seen a lot of people kind of all referencing the same breakout lines in this triangulation, and that's fine. That's pretty obvious. But what I care more about is where we are on the turning points and what directional changes are upcoming. And so for just a quick backstory, so maybe some of you haven't followed us before or our work, but I've had these sine waves and these cycles on this chart for a couple of years now, and the reason they work well, it's not about lines on the chart, it's about dividing up the geometry of time. And so when you understand cycles, you understand that it's not just about, if you start applying things like pi or Fibonacci, you can apply that to space, but it also matters when you compare it to time. And so we these waves and these cycles or these turning points will show up, and it's a rhythm through time, but also the markets, it's all energy. So the way energy travels is light travels in waves, sound waves, everything cycles. That's just how energy moves. So there's energy moving through the markets, and that also creates cyclical type of motion or ebb and flow, whatever, however you want to describe it. So if you guys maybe haven't followed us for a while, I'm just going to point out the backstory on this wave. And it's pretty amazing. So this was back into the peak, and we were tracking the smaller wave, the smaller cycle here. And I think we went like 13 for 14 on turning points. So check this out. So here's we made the high. We were taking profits into this move, right? Here was a turning point. Boom, that produced a high. We produced a low here on this turning point, produced another high here. This sequence, I've never seen anything like it in the history of me studying markets, back testing different markets and cycles, and then I've just never seen anything play out like this before. And it's pretty amazing that it happened on the crypto market and Bitcoin when there's not that many traders really involved technically in that market, to where it's not really a self-fulfilling prophecy. This really shows you that there's a lot of power and there's a hidden order behind things. So anyway, I won't get into any more of that, but here's another turning point. That was 3 for 3. Here we actually produced a low. Didn't really change the direction as prominent as these two moves. All right, but here was a nice low right on the turning point. Boom, perfectly. This green line's our pi line. Had another cycle turn here. This produced a low on this turn. It was a small bounce, but another low. This was another pivotal high. So if you want to give that one a and you want to give this one a right? We're going to count them in a second. That was a pivotal lower high. This produced a low on this turning point. You then rallied into this high. I mean, this is just amazing. Then we had actually another lower high here, followed by a move down. This didn't produce much. This was a continuation of the move. Sometimes that'll happen. And then you actually got a lower high here, followed by another move to the lows. All right. This didn't produce a cycle turn, but here was the high. This was actually the low. Low is there. And then this kind of moved into sideways range trade. And then the cycle moved into the longer term waves as we narrowed the energy. But I mean, this is what I've highlighted before, is this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you don't want to count that one, call it 10. So 10 for 13 on directional changes and pivots and turning points. So that's the power of what we're talking about. Now, what I want to discuss is the longer term cycles and update everybody on that. So we made the high here on this 8.6 month wave. We sold off into the summer of last year, and then we resumed the next longer term wave. That the move here, guys, on this from this point in time to this wave. All right, we'll talk about this turning point to the exact day in a second, but this was more consolidation through this whole time frame. So when we came off the peak and we kind of moved into that bear market, and then we said the summer would be the first time to maybe break out. If we can't make new highs in the summer on this wave, then you're going to sit through more of the same on this wave. And that's exactly what happened. You got sideways consolidation, another leg down, which actually started exactly with this turning point. And then we got the lows on this turn here. This was the lows here. So we didn't even really break out till, guess what, to the exact day on this turning point here. You got this big real money candle. I don't even remember what was in the market that day, but that was a huge short squeeze. Some of you guys will probably remember what that was. But we came off those 3,500 lows, which we were buyers and we were starting to build our positions. But this real money candle, we call it, it takes real money to create these types of bars. Short covering, new money coming in, whoever. I mean, in the traditional markets, it's central banks or money center banks or sovereign wealth funds. But this started the whole move with this exact day on the turning point here. Now I have this drawn forward in time. The exact peak is when we got that move. So that's just amazing. That started this whole up move, and we've been in this bull market since that wave. So does that mean you're going to get a bear move back down in trend with this turning point? No, it just means the cycle. Sorry, guys, I'm like trying to battle a cold here. The cycle that we're on here, this is a major turning point. And so what that means is we look for, does that mean, okay, this is what I can see playing out. And it's not about scenario building. It's just about understanding kind of where we are in time. So you've got this consolidation. Everybody's drawn it similar. And if you notice, it's coming right into this turning point here, which happens to be, yeah, I've been saying October for a while. October 7th, because that's the turn I was looking at. So a couple things could happen. You could break down from the wedge, and then you'd expect to see probably a full pie cycle, which means price will return back to this green line. That's our pie line. And you could fall maybe and consolidate into December, November, December before you have another big up wave. Okay. Or we get the breakout to the upside on this wave. You could be at new highs into the end of the year. But either way, we're going to really watch this consolidation, this wedge, let price tell us what it wants to do out of here. But the point I'm making is that we're coming to the apex. You can draw it. You can look at it in time as far as the apex. Look, you can see that time is kind of lining up with this wave. So I think we're going to get a big move either way. I'd actually think that with everything going on in global macro and just the fund flows and the amount of money coming into the space, we're going to see the breakout. But I also realize that every single person in the space is calling for the same thing. So maybe you actually need to have a flush down, rock the car the other way in the snow before you get the bigger move. But these are two big points in time we're coming up on, guys. I keep saying it's the beginning of October. And then this is a major convergence here in December. I think we're going to get a major low in December, or you're going to be at some significant new highs. But how we trade it and how we manage our risk is going to be mostly come here into October. Another question you have then is, if you break down, how do you play it? Well, the shitty thing is that CBOE took away the smaller contract futures. So it's easier to short futures against your core longs when that happened. Well, now you can't do it unless you want to trade the CME contracts, which was five Bitcoin a pop, which is a lot of margin. 5 BTC a contract, if I remember correctly. So some of you are set up to short. I would be just raising cash on your maybe your core Bitcoin positions if that starts to break down, and or go short some of the major alts against it, like your Ethereums and your Litecoins, to try to hedge that a little bit, or you just raise cash. There'll be a point where it's easier to buy futures or short the futures against stuff like this, or buy put options. That's what we're, that's what we mean when you say managing risk. If you start to break down with a pivotal turning point here in the cycle, but that's what we need to look for. I guess I'll hit the others real quick. Pretty annoyed by all the stuff going on with finance, how they're treating the U.S. I guess they don't really have much of a choice with all these regulators doing their thing. All right. This is a long update. Hope that's okay with you guys. I actually would want to hit on the majors first, the relative value. BTC looks like it's underperforming lately relative to everything. So we got IOTA, Stellar Lumens on the highs, Monero. Binance has been getting hit a little bit. It's interesting. So EOS to me and just outright BTC kind of stick out as far as being cheaper on a relative value basis. And now let's just get it directionally into it. Okay, so you had some pretty oversold levels with the strength in BTC. So when I look at the weekly charts, I mean, I think the alts make a lot of sense to be considering down here. This is a pretty strong move with a pretty low weekly candle. I want to see versus the others what that looks like also. So I see some pretty big cycles here. This was a cycle low, cycle low, cycle low, cycle low. So to me, I mean, alts and Ethereum just they looks like, without looking at them versus the dollar, that these are levels where you consider putting a little bit more to work in some of those names. The weekly cycles are really low. I mean, they're going to be low on Bitcoin also. We kind of already had a significant move on the daily. He held pi. That's not surprising. So we were taking up here. We had sell signals into 340, 330, and then I said we should be adding back into pi. Looks like we're wanting to take another leg up. Maybe the alts are leading. Maybe the alts are telling us we're going to break out and BTC is going to follow. I haven't actually seen where the dominance is. This is really narrowed sideways. So maybe the market's trying to pick up a little bit of alpha by buying some of the stuff that's actually moving. So by the nature of Litecoin and Ethereum holding these lows, starts to move up, money kind of chases. And we know that money in the crypto space definitely likes to chase. And sorry, I got distracted. Let's hit on some others. Cardano, I haven't added back since our last ad around 5 or 6 cents. If you can get above the bands, then you still have a lot of resistance above. It's 6 here, all these lower highs. This was this low support we had back from May. There's going to be some resistance, but if we get back above, call it 6.5, 7, then you're going to open the door up for a move back to 10 cents. Obviously, it matters what overall BTC is doing. Dash was cheap on a relative value basis. It looks like the same pattern. We basically had a bounce from lower lows back to the bands, as we call it, or this is basically a place where you have a pretty high probability of getting a lower high. So you're not out of the woods on that. That intermediate term downtrend. What else do we look at here? NEO, same chart, moved from the lower low back into the bands. You got pi above the market. Misego is really beat up. I haven't followed that project in a while, but coming off $1, if that starts to change its what we call the TMS there, you start making higher highs, you got plenty of room to go back to $2. Right. EOS sitting right underneath pi. All these alts are trying to change the intermediate term trend, which has been in a downtrend since June. So you're close, but you haven't quite popped it. I think that probably does it, guys, for this video. I guess I wanted to look at Monero maybe. Monero is always strong, pretty much held pi. Same thing though, if we start getting above the bands, you're gonna have a new uptrend in the alts. And again, we'll see if that actually leads BTC. So hey guys, but I realize some of you aren't trading the futures and stuff as much, or some of the other global macro markets, and crypto's kind of its own thing. So I'm going to keep our membership. I've got some new, we've got a new trading room, and we got a new prop program that's coming out. So for some of you want to trade futures and you're new to it, you want to day trade, you just want to make some money, but it's a lot of firms, a lot of prop shops are like, all right, you want to go trade crypto, try to do that. All right, you want to just do Forex, do that. But really the leverage is in the futures market. And when you have, like, this economy's been slow and the bond market's really rallied hard, gold's been trading really well. Those are going to be the themes, I think, for the next 18 months. Those trades aren't over. So having access to the futures market is what I'm setting up with this new prop program. I talked about it a little bit in the video from last night, and then we're going to be doing a webinar here tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern. You can sign up for that. Just click right here. But the crypto membership is going to be back, and then we set up our Symphony room. So I lowered the price on the crypto membership. It's only $40 a month, so a little over $1 a day. But it's all the real-time alerts, and that's where we're going to be trading this stuff more. Analysis. I'll be putting out videos. I'm going to move away from our free room that we had. I just don't think it really serves anybody. It's no different than just hanging out on Twitter. So this information and this team is going to be a part of this membership. And I was just going to show you guys the Symphony room. I thought I had a window open. So this is a professional financial collaboration platform. So it has better security and everything. Not that we need a lot of that. It's mostly for the banks and things. But I like it better than some of this amateur video game rooms. There's here we go. All right, so it'll be the crypto room here. That's where we're going to be at, guys. So you can sign up for that. The Cycle Edge is the other membership that's quarterly now. That's the real-time alerts. We trade together for an hour every day in the live room. We talk global macro markets, investing. You got big picture ideas, whether we're talking about Apple stock or we're day trading oil futures. That's in the Cycle Edge. All right, that's those are basically the two memberships I'm offering on the retail side. All right, guys. So we'll see how the Fed comes out today. I'll see some of you in the live room in about an hour.